Major League Baseball has been around for about 150 years now. And over those years, what the league has shown are great clashes, elite players, and historic events. For over a century, baseball reigned as the most popular sport in America. So without further ado, let's explore the history of the MLB. Now, the beginnings of baseball is a bit of a controversial one, as there are two different ways it could have been birthed. The first, dating back to the 18th century, is baseball was a combination of rounders and cricket. But the second dates back to the Civil War, where Union General Abner Doubleday was rumored to invent the sport in 1839. Wait, I invented baseball? Dude, come on. Either way, baseball was invented. It wouldn't be until 1845 that clear rules were made on the game, created by the Knickerbockers. Baseball would be played in a diamond-shaped field with 4 bases. The pitcher, residing in the pitcher's box, would pitch an underhanded baseball to a batter. If the batter hits the ball, they have to run the bases to home base for a point while the opponents try getting them out. How to get a runner out can be from catching a fly ball, tagging the runner, or beating the runner to base. But under no circumstance can you throw the ball at a runner.
Oh!
If a hit goes out of the park, then it's a home run, where the batter and all men on base score runs. The batters would alternate turns, and when the club at bat gets 3 outs, they switch sides. The first team to 21 runs wins. The game hadn't gone professional yet. Instead, grown men that enjoyed the sport would organize games. Each club would have 9 members, consisting of infielders, outfielders, pitchers, catchers, and batters. Oh, there's a problem. This game takes way too long to score 21 runs. So baseball introduced 9 innings where the higher scorer wins. Oh, hey, there's another problem. Batters are refusing to swing at pitches they don't like. Fine, let's create strikes in a strike zone. You know, maybe something like 3 strikes you're out. Hey, now pitchers are delaying the game by pitching unbattable balls. Okay then, let's create 4 chances for the pitcher to throw unbattable pitches, called balls. Oh, what now? Batters are hitting foul balls endlessly until they get a good pitch? Fine, make foul balls strikes then. Anyway, after some failed leagues, in 1857, the NAPBBP was founded. Using the incentive of gambling, fans came out to see games, and 20 years later, the organization would become the National League. Originally, there were 8 clubs in the league, all bundled in the Northeast. 2 of them included the Boston Red Stockings and Chicago White Stockings, which would later develop into the Braves and Cubs. The following years for the NL would contain 23 clubs joining and 23 clubs folding. But the NL was still widely regarded as the most talented league in America, until in 1901, a new league who came in with hostile arrival called the American League challenged the NL. Well, let's settle this off then, said the NL, a little bit scared, in a World Series. In 1903, the NL and AL merged together and faced off in the first ever World Series, with the AL Boston Americans winning in a shock. Hey look, the MLB is flourishing with great players. There's Temper Tantrum Ty Cobb at batter, Christy Mathewson at pitcher, Honus Wagner the Flying Dutchman, Cy Young. Oh yeah, Cy Young. He was one of the best pitchers with the most wins in MLB history. He was great. And now he's an award. In 1908, the first dugout was used. 2 years later, the first pitching tradition began with President Taft. And in 1912, Fenway Park was built, the oldest current ballpark for the Red Sox, followed by Wrigley Field for the Cubs. The Boston Red Sox just won 3 World Series, and now their pitcher and outfielder want more money than the Red Sox have. Let's sell someone. Let's sell Babe Ruth. So Boston sold him to their rivals, the Yankees. Hopefully that won't curse them or anything. Uh-oh, the 1918 season just got cut short from the rise in World War I. Hopefully when the war ends, we can enjoy a nice, non-scandalous World Series. Oh shoot, never mind, it's the Black Sox. Basically, 8 members of the White Sox purposely threw the World Series in exchange for money. This gave a lot of disgrace to the league, so guess what, White Sox? You're cursed. and none of you can make the Hall of Fame. Oh hey, it's a roaring 20s, and baseball's popularity will start to skyrocket. Newer ballparks, radio broadcasts of the games, newspapers covering what's going on in the league. Baseball was definitely America's national pastime and received many fans in the process. Remember Babe Ruth? Well, him, the Yankees, and Lou Gehrig later on are doing very well, reaching 7 World Series. Ruth would lead the home run record for a while, along with many other records, and would declare himself as one of the best players of all time. In Game 7 of the 1924 World Series, the Washington Senators came back from a deficit and won in 12 innings, giving legendary pitcher Walter Johnson his only World Series. Guess what? It's Babe Ruth again. He just called shot in his last World Series as a Yankee. A year later, he called shotgun to be in the first ever MLB All-Star Game. The Boston Braves decided their name might be racist. Fine, I guess we'll become the Bees, said Boston, and continue to change your name back to the Braves. Finally, it seems the Yankees' reign of terror is coming to an end. Ruth is gone, Gehrig is slowly declining, and oh crap, it's Joe DiMaggio. Joltin' Joe would become an outstanding slugger and outfielder, winning 9 rings in his 13 seasons as a Yankee, along with manager Joe McCarthy. In 1939, the MLB had its first ever televised game, and now there's a little league for kids to play in. Uh-oh, it's World War II. Because of the need of soldiers overseas, 500 MLB players were drafted. However, the MLB still continued through the war. Because of the lack of talent in the league, 3-time MVP Stan Musial and the Cardinals would take advantage and dominate the league. Meanwhile, the Chicago Cubs are getting ready to celebrate, about to win their first World Series in 37 years.
Can I come in?
Yeah. Go on, go on. You, stop, no goat. What? I curse you, you darn Cubs. Meanwhile, Ted Williams just hit a 500-foot home run in Fenway Park, which is spotted by a red chair. In 1946, when the war ended and players returned, baseball started a boom. Soldiers found baseball to be a means of entertainment to distract themselves from their trauma in war. Oh hey, in 1947, the MLB heard some unprecedented news. The color barrier was broken. On April 15th of 47, Jackie Robinson left the Negro League and stepped on an MLB field, marking the first black man ever to join the league. His team, the Dodgers, would immediately spark success, reaching 6 World Series in 10 years. But right now, the World Series has some problems of its own. You see, star Indians player Bob Feller just won the World Series, but what is it that I see? Is Cleveland secretly using Feller's telescope to steal signs? Thus, the stereotype was created. Oh hey, it's the 1950s. Remember how the MLB was skyrocketing in popularity? Well, guess what'll help even more? A New York team winning every single game of the World Series for 8 consecutive years. Most of this was from the Yankees. They have Mickey Mantle and Yogi Berra, and holy smokes, they have 17 World Series wins. There's also the New York Giants. A young Willie Mays just made a great over-the-shoulder catch in the World Series, and later swept the Indians as heavy underdogs. Then there's the Brooklyn Dodgers. The long-suffering Dodgers won in 55 versus the Yankees with the help of Robinson and a Sandy Amorous catch. The Cincinnati Reds decided that their name might support communism. Fine, I guess we'll become the Redlegs, said Cincinnati, and continue to change your name back to the Reds. Oh look, teams have been relocated to Milwaukee, Baltimore, and Kansas City. Don Larson just pitched a perfect game on the big stage.
Nice.
Hammer and Hank and the Braves split World Series versus the Yankees. And in 58, the MLB finally made their move out westward. The Giants relocated to San Fran and the Dodgers to LA. Meanwhile, Bill Mazeroski just hit a walk-off home run in Game 7 to complete the upset over the Yankees. Welcome to the 60s. Let's head to the ballpark with a scorecard. Try catching a foul ball and listen to Vince Scully on the transistor radio. The MLB will start to experience its expansion era, where teams will appear north, south, east, and west, even expanding past the borders to Canada. This brought a lot more opportunity in the league for non-New York teams to do well. For instance, the Dodgers, Orioles, and Cardinals all won a couple World Series in the 60s. Let's talk about the Dodgers, who seem to like how it feels to win on the beach. Sandy Koufax, known for his great World Series attendance, is pitching, and their in-state rivals, the Giants, are doing well with Willie Mays. But right now, that other New York team is the laughingstock of the league. Anyway, the MLB draft was introduced in '65. Frank Robinson just hit a home run out of the ballpark, and a young Pete Rose can be seen popularizing head-first sliding. In 1967, the Commissioner's Trophy was first handed out to the World Series champion. And guess what? 4 teams are now allowed in the playoffs. That really proved handy for the Tom Seaver Mets, who got in the World Series and shocked a great Orioles team. It was almost like a miracle. Oh, what's that? Baseball players now have the option to have a walk-up song when walking up to bat? That's pretty nifty, I'd say. Safety first batters, helmets are now mandatory. Look, Roberto Clemente is becoming a franchise player for the Pirates. Washington lost their team yet again to Dallas. And the Oakland A's are making a dynasty with slugger Reggie Jackson. Also, Hank Aaron finally surpassed Babe Ruth's home run record in his 22nd season, and Frank Robinson became the first black manager in '75. Well, right now, the Reds are dominating the league, with managers Sparky Anderson and players such as Johnny Bench, Joe Morgan, and responsible gambler Pete Rose, who, by the way, has the all-time most hits. The Big Red Machine would win 2 World Series. 2 new teams in '77, the Toronto Blue Jays and Seattle Mariners. Both teams stunk, but the Mariners stunk exceptionally more. Meanwhile, Mike Schmidt won a ring and earned his way into the Mustache Hall of Fame.
A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball.
Sang Harry Carey at Wrigley Field after popularizing the song. Let's give George Brett some peanuts and Cracker Jacks, cause he's probably going bonkers right now about his pine tar bat. Hey, guess what became a real top seller for the MLB during the late 80s? Baseball cards. Fans love collectibles, and would buy a package of bubblegum with the chance of getting a Bill Buckner card. Oh yeah, speaking of Bill Buckner, he basically ruined his career in 1986. You know, the ball might have just squeaked through his legs and made the Red Sox blow the seemingly unlosable World Series. On the bright side, look at those ratings. Some more good ratings came from the Oakland A's. With base stealer Ricky Henderson and slugger Mark McGwire, the A's would reach 3 World Series, 2 in which they were heavily favored but blew them. Uh-oh, Pete Rose just got in big trouble. For your gambling misconduct, the MLB agrees you receive a lifetime ban from the sport. Okay. And you can't make the Hall of Fame. Come on, man! In 1989, future President George W. Bush bought the Texas Rangers, and it turns out most of the Pirates are cokeheads. Meanwhile, Nolan Ryan surpassed the strikeout record. Look at the Mariners. They have Ken Griffey Jr. and Sr., marking the first father and son to be on the same team. Guess who's on top of the US now? Canada, literally and figuratively. The Toronto Blue Jays just won the Commissioner's Trophy with an extra innings Game 6 that rejuvenated Dave Winfield's career. Uh-oh, football and basketball are rising crazy in popularity, and the MLB needs to do something about it. So in '93 and '98, 4 teams were expanded into the MLB. The Rays and Rockies would fail to win a World Series, while the Diamondbacks and Marlins unexpectedly would. Whoa, the year marks 1994 and the World Series is cancelled. The players didn't want the league to add salary caps, as they would make a lot less money because of it. So a 232-day strike was pursued in the league. Gotta feel bad for the Expos though, they really had something going that year. Alex Rodriguez became the most controversial player. Legendary pitcher Greg Maddux of the Braves made a couple World Series in '95 and '6, and the Marlins unconvincingly won the World Series in '98 and continue to trade away other good players. Hey, it's Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire dueling it out in a season-long home run derby. Hopefully some news won't ruin these guys' career. Oh shoot, what in the mother-loving world is going on, thought the MLB in 1998. Apparently, everyone in baseball is taking steroids. I mean, it's pretty evident if you look at their before and after images and home run numbers, but it still disgraced the league. Your favorite players, Bonds, Sosa, McGwire, Clemens, Rodriguez, all did steroids. This is so embarrassing for the league. You should all be embarrassed. None of you will ever make the Hall of Fame. Except A-Rod maybe, if you keep it up with J-Lo. Meanwhile, the Yankees are struggling to find a new leading player during their dynasty. Brian Taylor? Yeah, he's a bust. How about Rivera? No, I mean, he's good, but he's a reliever. Clemens? No way, he took steroids. Dang. Jeter? We have a new star. Apparently, winning in baseball takes a lot of math, said the Oakland A's after not sucking. Well, no, they didn't win. Neither did the 116-win Mariners team. The Arizona Diamondbacks won. Yeah, them and Randy Johnson somehow beat the Yankees. Wait a second, did Ted Williams just decapitate his frozen head? And now his children are fighting over his body? Hey look, it's Barry Bonds. Statistically, you'd think he's the best MLB player ever. 7 MVPs, all-time home run record, and pitchers intentionally giving him walks because he's a monster hitter. But then again, Bonds is basically a poster boy for the steroids era. Also, he failed to win a World Series. He almost did in 2002, but that was somehow blown. The rivalry continues. It's the Red Sox and Yankees, brawling it out in 7 competitive games to reach the World Series. Unfortunately for the Red Sox, throwing Don Zimmer to the ground doesn't reflect well for the franchise. But that's fine, now Red Sox fans can take a sigh of relief, since Pedro Martinez just won the World Series, thereby breaking their curse. Guess who else broke their curse? The White Sox. But really, who cares about the White Sox? No. Let's talk about the Cubs. You know, the team that just ruined a fan's life for catching a foul ball. Montreal is mourning after missing the playoffs 25 straight years. Sadly, their team left to Washington. Oh no, it seems the MLB has peaked. Baseball? Pfft, way too boring.
Like the game, it just takes like way too long.
To add the cherry on the cake, the Orioles just lost by 27 runs. Anyway, in the early 2010s, the Giants and Cardinals bursted with success and held dynasties. Wait, why do these teams get to win a bunch of titles but not us, thought literally every other franchise in the MLB? Oh, owner Jeffrey Loria seems to have lost all hope in the Marlins. You, gone. You, gone. I want a new stadium, and I want all the seats to myself on game day. In 2014, star slugger and outfielder Mike Trout won his first of 3 MVPs in the Angels, with more to come. Meanwhile, the Yankees are substandard without A-Rod and Jeter, and the Royals had a little spark of success. Grand Slam! It's the Cubs, they just broke their weird GOAT curse after overcoming a 3-1 lead in the World Series. For the Indians, well, that's pretty sad, but there's always next year. Wait, no, you choked that too. Houston, we have a problem. The Astros just got caught cheating in the World Series by banging on trash cans. Now every other fan base hates them. They especially dislike Altuve, who occasionally hides buzzers in his jersey. Oh shoot, it's COVID. There are no fans, which is probably a good thing for Zach Greinke. Masks, and the amount of games are cut in half. In the bubble, the Dodgers won their first World Series in 30 years with Clayton Kershaw at pitcher. Hey, COVID's basically gonzo, but now the minor leaguers want more money, so let's cut spring training in half. Also, the Indians just began their one-step plan to ending racism. So currently, the Yankees have 27 total World Series wins, the Mariners are undergoing a 20-year drought, and Shohei Ohtani is probably getting injured as I speak. And that was a history of Major League Baseball.